Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ugress episode 38. And I just realized a few minutes just before starting now, it's actually pretty much exactly 5 years since we started doing these live streams. So it's a 5-year anniversary live stream. I'm gonna talk more about that later. I will just connect. If you wanna appear on Zoom here, up here, you can click this link. I just posted a link in the comments there. If you click that link, you can participate with your webcam. And Tool already did. Perfect timing, Tool. That's excellent timing, actually. Just connected as I was saying it. Thanks for connecting. Hello, Lars. Good evening. And welcome to the 5th anniversary live stream. As I was just saying, it's been... it was actually... I have the date here. March 25th, 2000 was the very first live stream with Ugress, and now we are here. It's 5 years later, and we're still going strong. I'm probably the only artist still live streaming. Olivia, good evening. Great to see you. I noted you had a question last time that I have noted in my notes. I will answer it a bit later. I will just welcome everybody and make sure that everything is up and running. HN3000, good evening. So there's quite a lot to talk about tonight. I wasn't quite sure what I was gonna talk about, but then I realized it's 5 years. So I'm gonna show you a bunch of images from all of these 5 years because the live streams have been through quite a change over those few years. And yes, it was because of COVID loss. I think like everything shut down in, I can't remember, the beginning of March, I think, or end of February. And then a few, oh, there's, so HN, that's you, okay. No, NR, Natalia, hello, good evening. I can't see the letters from here, I thought you were HN. Okay, so we are 3 people on Zoom, and where was I? I was, we were supposed to go on tour in April and May that year, so everything kind of like fell out of the, like, for everybody. And I started live streaming. So I'm not going to talk a ton about that because we all remember that like it was yesterday, I think. But I will go through some of the images from all of that, and there's quite a lot of information for tonight. So I'm just going to start with some practical information. To get that out of the way, you probably know this, I will just tell you anyway because there's always somebody new, that you can buy vinyl. I am selling vinyl. Let's go here, it's easier to see. I'm selling vinyl. There's a lot of my catalog is now on vinyl. Here is the selection currently in my vinyl store. You are buying these vinyls directly from me, and that means I have to charge pretty high prices for shipping, unfortunately, because I'm a one-man operation and I don't ship that much. So the shipping is quite expensive. I'm very sorry about that, and I just noticed now in January the prices went up pretty much. And I was quite shocked to see, like, I shipped out an LP to the US today, and that was the first of this year. I shipped quite many to the US last year, but the first one to the US this year went out now, and that cost me like $40 in shipping, and the vinyl is like $30, so it's quite expensive. All right. And the other thing I was going to talk to you about is, yeah, please, another way to support me is to sign up for my mailing list. To just get that out of the way, you can sign up here. So that's sad. The mailing list is like, I send out maybe between 6 and 12 emails per year. There's like, it's a bit up and down in activity. If I release singles or albums, there's not a lot of emails, but there's an email for every release. And if something important happens, I post emails, and then it can be quiet for a while. Oh, and before I forget it, it could happen that audio disappears tonight because we had a general rehearsal with Patreon supporters yesterday. I play through all of the songs for tomorrow's live stream the day before, and my audio. Oh, hello. There's Petra. Hello, Petra. And for the first time in my whole career, Ableton Live crashed during performance. I think I found a problem. It was a plugin, a very old plugin. I removed that plugin, so the sound might be a little bit different tonight because that was a plugin that enhances the sound for live streaming. So the sound might be a bit different, but hopefully it won't crash. But if audio disappears, if it becomes very quiet, I have to restart Ableton Live. That takes like 3 minutes or so, and then I will be back continuing for where we stopped. Richard, good evening. Good to see you also. Okay, so one of the things, let's go here. It's more cozy in my spaceship. So let's just go and take a look at all of the different setups I've had over the years. Here is the very first. I'm gonna move over here so it's easier for me to skip ahead. This is the very first live stream setup where I did the very first live stream with all of my house plants. I did not have a green screen at that point, so I was just but I had a projector. I think maybe you can see it here. You see on the lower right, there's a projector, and that was projecting on me and the background. So I didn't have any fancy setup. It was just projecting on the wall behind me. And messed around with costumes and house plants, and we had quite a lot of fun for the first half year or so with this setup in my living room. I enjoyed it quite a lot, and I mean, it was COVID. We were stuck there anyway. But then here, I think after COVID kept going, and I thought wow, okay, I'm gonna scale this up. So I built a green screen studio in my living room, and this is the setup for the second year of COVID. And you remember these? We had I think almost a year or two of these backgrounds and the spaceship. I have some more stills from that. This is where the the wolves. We did the wolves, and I did duets with myself. We had a lot of crashing computers, and that seems to be back again. But now the visuals aren't crashing; it's the audio computer. And also, since everybody was home, I think there was more. I had more time to focus on live streams, so they were regular. I think we had one every month, so the audience was quite present, and they shared their living rooms and their house plants, and then I inserted myself in everybody's house plants. So as COVID kept going, I kept expanding my green screen studio. So I had both to the right there was the setup. I think maybe I have a photo. Here you can see this is what I was looking at when I was performing. This is the station that I'm performing from. And then on the other side, I had a spot where I could record all of the characters. Here you see this guy is a recording, and I'm then acting against my recording. So this was 2022, I think, 2023 with Network 22 and Jim Bates, and this was also the beginning of generative AI. Here we have some of the very first machine learning generated backgrounds, and that kind of kept growing and growing. Here's some of the early AI generated videos. But I also I still use a lot of recorded footage. Here's just a recording from Berlin, where I used to live. So I kind of performed in the streets where I was living. But we had great fun. It was a fantastic period with lots of crazy ideas. And then, as COVID ended, I started thinking about I can't bring the green screen on tour. I tried that once before, and it didn't work very well. It worked, but it was kind of a hassle, and it was difficult to balance with all the lights and the video and all this stuff. So I started working with a black background in 2022 to prepare for going back to live concerts and working with visuals that work with a black background, because that's much easier to do on a live stage. So that looked like this. I still had the house plants, and then I kind of had a plant frame around me and a black background, and I then inserted myself in televisions, and this is then easy to replicate on a live stage. And here is, I think, Boulevard of Broken Dreams. The album was generated with a lot of the material from that period. Let's. I'm going to continue. We are halfway. I will just go back to the studio and check in with your comments. Hey Rinso, hello. Good evening. I'm chatting too much, so nobody has time to write any comments. If you have any questions or comments, do insert them. I will stop talking and check in with comments every now and then. And I have also noted the questions from last time that I didn't manage to... Boulevard of Broken Dystopias. Yes, I'm sorry. I will get to your comments in a while. I will just kind of go through the rest of the memories. So... after a while, I kind of missed the green screen. I still do miss the green screen because it's so much easier to remove the background, and it's I can be much more creative with that. So for a short while, in 2023, I think, or 2022, at the end of 2022, I set up the green screen another time, and I did some smaller productions with that. And now I focused just on removing the backgrounds. I think maybe this was Boulevard of Broken Dystopias, actually, and the other one was Scavenger Royale, if I remember correctly. And then I left Berlin and I moved to Norway, and I moved into a much smaller place and a much smaller room. And this is where I'm right now, where I then continued with, here you see, like I have a curtain to draw behind me. So that's when I did stuff like this, and now I insert myself in screens because I can't remove the background, but I can kind of mask it out with the darkness and insert myself in stuff like this. This is also when I started to print up vinyl. But generally for the live streams, I appear in screens or on the walls or in stuff like that. I'm not like free roaming until now, because machine learning has gotten so good that I can remove the background with machine learning in real time. So that's what I'm doing right now. The background here is this, but it's being removed with machine learning in real time. So I don't need a green screen, and I'm very curious to see how this is working on real stages. So, Ricky, hello, good evening. There's a question. I will get to that in a second. I'm Crystal also. Good evening. I'll just finish the tour. I think we are at the end of it. Yeah, because that's where we are right now, and this is for the music coming up tonight. So that was a tour of 5 years of live streaming through different kinds of setup, and I wonder, I think a lot like, am I going to be live streaming still in 5 years? Maybe. I don't have any plans to stop it, but one thing I have noticed that since I started doing live concerts and production work on, like, I do commissioned music for theaters and concerts and stuff like that. That's very difficult to combine with live streaming because it takes all of my time to produce these live streams, and I can't combine that with touring in the real world. So that's it's not a bad thing, but it's difficult, and I feel like I don't enjoy doing live streams in a bad way. I'd like to do them well. Alright, Ricky has a question. If the Retrotopia speech samples are all sample or making my own samples? They are actually all generated. It's all, it's not samples from something existing. I created everything myself, either using my voice as a guide or scripting it or sculpting the sounds or the samples. So it's a mix of everything really, but they don't exist anywhere. It's all made up. And Olivier, you had a question last time, and how did you create these background visual effects? And I covered some of that now with going through the live streams, the different setups. Like previously I used the green screen to remove the background, and then I insert myself in screens, like I'm inserting you guys on Zoom up here. And I'm doing that using a visual app that works kind of like Photoshop, like it's layers. I don't know if there's a place here. This doesn't really tell you how it works, but like this one is built up of different layers on top of each other, and then just like one layer is in front of the other, and I'm inserted in the middle of that. The backgrounds are can come from all kinds of places. It's either I'm gonna go here and just like for tonight. This one is generated with machine learning. Some of the assets are with different kinds of tools. Like I'm not using one tool, but almost all of them, because each of them have different strengths or weaknesses. So I generate assets with some apps, and then I use other apps to further refine or animate those assets. And I also use like a lot of retro stuff. I just cut out stuff from old computer stuff, or use also real footage. I don't, if there's any here, is like this is footage I did some urban exploring. I think you also asked about that. Somebody also asked about that. Like I go around, I film a lot, I film everywhere I go. So it's a mix of everything really. And I don't have a recipe. Like almost every track can have a different process or working process. Okay. Trilex, thank you for the compliment. I'm very happy to hear that. Yes, Chris, Chim Chim Cherry, it's interesting to see how everything has developed over the last 5 years. Not just like my own work, but how also technology has kind of like grown in the same direction. Hello, Canada. It is the Amiga Workbench screen. Olivier, thank you. That's a very nice compliment. And I know what you mean. Like some of my favorite artists, as I gotten more experience, I kind of finally figure out how they do stuff and how they did it. But still, there are like stuff they did. I'm like, how the fuck did I do that? And it's not frustrating, or like you say, it's frustrating in a good way. Like I love it. I want to know how it's done, but maybe it's not that important to know how it's done. It's just like I'm fascinated by the work. Yes, Chris. It's also, I'm gonna touch upon that once I start. I'm gonna wait until 8 o'clock with the like big announcement and the big party when everybody's here. But one of the good things about all of these live streams, they are very important for artistic development. It's a great space for me to try new material and develop stuff. But probably the most important stuff, or the most important thing, is you guys, like this community of listeners and supporters and followers that show up. People come and go, of course. Like we are not the same crowd we were 5 years ago. It's changing all the time, and we're going to be a different crowd of people in 5 years. But still, it's a wonderful place, and I enjoy a lot having these live streams. I always look forward to them, and I have so much fun afterwards when I'm reading through all of the comments. Because once I start playing, you know, I don't have time to see all of the comments, but then I'm laughing so much the next day when I'm reading through all of it. So regarding the comments from last time, I took some notes from reading through them, and Bruno Ayabi requested Fubuki. I looked into it. I'm probably going to be able to play that. Not tonight. I didn't have capacity to finish that for tonight, but it's noted on the request list. And Wilhelm also requested snowball trim and a touch of monsoon. It's all noted, and if you have any requests, please just post them in the comments, and I'll be happy to look into playing them. What's typically often comes, or I think most of you know that the vocal songs, it's very difficult for me to do in live streams, or it's not difficult, but I don't like performing a song that contains a big contribution from a vocalist that isn't here. So I'm not gonna do the vocal songs without the vocalist. Like, I'm gonna reserve those for live performances. And Lars TK, you had a very interesting question, and that was in the last live stream you asked, how will Patreon and merchandise be affected by the economic situation with the United States? And that's a very good question. I don't have an answer. Half of my audience is in the US. I'm going to touch upon that a bit later. But actually, when I think about it now, the sale of vinyl is mostly Norway, Germany, and continental Europe. And then US is a bit behind. I think that is because the shipping costs to ship something to the US is insane. That has nothing to do with the current economical situation of the US administration, but it's already very expensive to send something over there. But I do, so Spotify streaming and YouTube streaming, that's a lot of Americans, and that is important. I have no idea if the tariffs or whatever is gonna influence stuff like that, but let's wait and see. I don't think like the regular person is gonna play less or more of some music depending on tariffs or politics. So I'm not super worried. But what is clear is that we are absolutely not going on tour in the US in the near future. That's quite certain, because it's so unstable to know like if you can travel there at all, what's gonna happen on the border. Will you be allowed? And Brian also asked for a live show in Scotland, which is a very good question. I will answer that later. But Brian, if you're here, or if you see this later or whatever, please send me a city and a venue that would be could be actual, because the UK is the third country. Like, US has the most listener, then Norway. Those two are the big top two, and but then UK is the third country where I have the most listeners. So I am actually thinking of. We are working on setting shows in UK. And Vladimir, I finally had time to translate your Cyrillic message, or somebody actually translated it in the comments last time, but I didn't catch the translation. Thank you for your lovely comments. And I don't know if you can understand English, but your question or your suggestion that my music often stops when you wish the songs were longer. I'm guilty. I know my songs often stop. Like, why did it stop there? Is it finished? Yes, it's finished. I don't have anything more to say. I'm not gonna I might sometimes repeat stuff just for doing it, because that's the common pop structure, but often I find no, the song is finished. There's nothing more here. I'm not gonna play it longer just because it needs to be longer. But your observation is good. Great questions, guys. I'm laughing because I'm reading your comments, and fantastic questions there. Olivier, thank you for the recommendation of Danger. I'm going to check that out. Hafna Floki, good evening. Good to see you. Olivier, my biggest love is Frontline Assembly, and also then Delirium are my most. That's the artists I grew up with. Like, they were my big inspiration as a kid, and they still are. Jacob, good evening. That's a hilarious question. How many spiders in my house because of Retrotopia? I wish there were more, because some of my house plants tend to generate tiny flies, and whenever I see a spider, I'm like, get to work, spider, and put up some spider webs and catch those little flies. So I wish there were more spiders in my house. I wouldn't like to have spiders as a pet, but I think spiders do really great work. I wish they could do it more here. And Trilix. Yes, we played in Denmark ages ago. I've played in Copenhagen at Rust, and we played in Aarhus, but I can't remember the name of the venue. But that's I think like 10-15 years ago. And interestingly, I'm going to show some stats a bit later. Denmark is very low on my listener count on various platforms. So since 2010 or so, we haven't actually looked a lot at Denmark because of the low streaming numbers from that region. So while I'm talking about this, here's the current dates we have. These dates are just in Norway for now. We play Bergen on May 3rd, then Kristiansand in June, and Larvik in September, and then Hamar also later in September or October is behind me on the screen there. And before I start in 5 minutes, because I'm not going to do ads for Patreon in the main live stream, but in case you are interested in stuff like that, I do have a Patreon. There's a link to that. If you want to subscribe to my Patreon, you can. It's very... do I have a screenshot of that? Patreon is a way to support artists on a monthly basis, and I post a music post, a video post, and a live post every month. So if you're interested in looking behind the work, for example, Olivia, you were asking about how do you do the stuff you do. There's a lot of behind the scenes posts and making of posts and stuff like that on my Patreon. So this isn't for everybody, but I'm just making sure that you are aware of it, because every month somebody signs up and like, whoa, I had no idea you had one. That was so great. I saw it on the live stream. So I just keep reminding you that this is possible. All right, it's 3 minutes until starting. This was quite busy. I'm gonna check with the comments that I haven't skipped anything. Lars, I would like to take you up on that offer. The tiny baby spiders. You are coming to the live show in Bergen. I know we will have the Patreon after party. Oh, I forgot to say that when we have concerts, there's a Patreon after party and hangout at the shows. Please bring your spiders to the concert in Bergen, and we can you can give me spiders. Surf King, whoa, respect. Yes, they are from Vancouver. I have some friends in Berlin who know them, and I'm so like starstruck whenever I talk to them, because they also come from Vancouver, and some of my colleague artists are close with them. I don't know them personally, I never met them, but I've seen them live a handful of times, and I'm always like, ooh, I love it so much. Yeah, Skinny Puppy and all of all of those 90s EDM and industrial bands. I like all of them, but and Front 2 for 2, but Frontline Assembly was my main love. Jacob, I suppose we could also bribe the spiders to do some work. Pamela, top of the evening to you also. Happy birthday, Petra, and Anna also. Yes, cheers, and happy birthday to us. I have some Skjole, Weisswein Skjole. It's like a fake. It's a poor artist champagne. Lars, I will look into if the spiders can be on the guest list. Oh, Olof and Matthias also, happy birthday to everybody, and thanks for hanging out for all of this time. It's great to have you all here. We are starting now. Let me just check that everything is actually operational. Olivia, my name is Gisle in Norwegian. That's how Norwegians, or that's how Norwegians from my region of Norway say it. On the other side of Norway, they say Gisle. And Americans say Gisle, and I'm so used to everything. No, you know, it's not important. That's how it is. Okay, guys, it's started time. Let's do that and say hello and welcome to Ugress TV episode 38. Woohoo! And did you know, actually, or I'm just gonna post the so there you go. If you want to connect on Zoom, like all of these wonderful people up here has done, we can go. I think I have a place where they're much bigger. There, you can see. No, I'm in the way. So like this is the best one. You can connect on Zoom. The audio is coming from YouTube, of course. But what I was going to say, this is actually exactly 5 years since we started live streaming. This is episode 38. And the first one was on March 25th, 2020. There's a typo in the text there. And now we are 5 years later with 38 episodes. Let's go here, it's easier to see. So I've done 36 episodes. In total, 48 hours, that is 2 days. It feels like a lot more, but that's what the math tells me. I've done 290 songs. So sometime this year, we're gonna pass the 300 songs. And in total, all of the live streams have been seen by 28,500 views. That's almost a stadium. But the most interesting part of that is that when I started, I hadn't made any focus on YouTube. So there were 500 followers on YouTube, and now we are 8,500 subscribers. Woohoo! That's really great. And actually, in these 5 years, YouTube plus Patreon has become a very important income source. But that's not all. These 5 years of live streams has also been super important as an artistic platform. And I think that's why I love it so much, because this is a space for me to try out new songs, new ideas, new graphics. I test stuff. It's computers crash. It's not a safe space because I'm broadcasting, so I'm trying to kind of like do stuff on time. But it's a perfect place to develop art, music ideas, and my skills. But maybe most important is the community that has been generated by these live streams over 5 years, and that is you right now, right here. To you and our community. Good job, everybody. And as I was saying during the hangout and warm-up, if you just tune in, I looked through all of the different live stream setups I've had. Like I had green screens and black screens and non-screens and all kinds of. So you can look through that during the warm-up. But most important, it's us here now. It keeps changing, but it's a wonderful space for everybody. Or I can only speak for myself, but people come back, so I think it works for some of us. So for tonight, it's a birthday party. I just realized this today, so I haven't had a lot of time. I didn't use it in the marketing or promotion of this. I just kind of like, I'm telling you now. Maybe we can have a party a bit later this year. For now, it's just a regular live stream. I'm going to get going with the music in a second. There's going to be classic music, some new songs. I'm going to test a bunch of new graphics and characters. And my goal of doing everything tonight is because we do a lot of live shows this summer, and I'm going to test as much as possible for that. And my goal is, as always, a big stage. So you are now looking at a small screen, and some of the graphics doesn't work very well on a small screen, but the goal is a big stage. The next live stream is going to be sometime at the end of May, because the first concert is in the beginning of May. So let's go. I will check in with your wonderful comments after playing 1 or 2 songs, so we kind of start getting warm with the music. And the first track is Curse of the Castle. Let me just load that. turn down the background music and put this one away. Thank you. That was Curse of the Castle from 2021. And the next track is, before I catch up with your lovely comments, the next track is Radio Aurora, which I played last time. But it turned out there was a technical problem with that song last time. You didn't notice, but I noticed afterwards. All of the creatures were missing. There was a bug in my setup. So now I'm gonna do it again because I need that video for it's gonna be a single in a few months. No, sorry, in a few weeks. So I'm just gonna do it again. This time with the creatures and with some updates to some of the voices and some of the melody.
From the ruins of time, this is Aurora Radio. We report from inside the ghost library of lost memories. There is a book where every page is a mirror. Every mirror is a future.
Thank you. Whew. That was Radio Aurora from 2025. It will arrive on a streaming service close to you in 3 weeks. So that's the last single. There's 2 more singles coming. I'm gonna play one of them soon, and then another one, and then the album Retrotopia Director's Cut is coming on May 2nd. So before moving on to the next track, I'm just gonna check in if there's some comments or questions I haven't answered. Hieronymus Bosch approves the graphics. I'm quite sure he would, or maybe he wouldn't. Who knows? I'm quite sure he would be on TikTok if he was alive right now. Okay, let's move on to something with very different visuals. The next track is the next single, no, the second next single, and this is Quiescent Cryptobiosis.
We are facing the maw of a beast. A beast that feeds on our very essence. It strips away our emotions, our memories, our souls, leaving nothing but hollow shells. Mamba and tax. They're webs of convenience. They are chains, manacles that bind us to a cycle of dependence. This is not evolution. It's subjugation. An annihilation of the self. Awaken! Rise. The scars of your experiences belong to you. Your memories, your emotions. Fight. Fight for the very fabric of your reality. They peddle the lie of a life unburdened by sorrow, by the weight of remembrance. But what is a life without the taste of bittersweet nostalgia? What is life without the fire of anger, without the catharsis of grief? Rise, my friends, rise with your pain, your love, your rage. Your emotions are your weapons. We are the resistance, the keepers of reality. We are the guardians of the heart, and we shall awaken. Rise. The scars of your experiences belong to you. Your memories, your emotions. Fight. Fight for the very fabric of your reality, and we shall awaken. Rise. The scars of your experiences belong to you. Your memories, your emotions. Fight. Fight for the very fabric of your reality. Rise.
Thank you. That was Quiescent Cryptobiosis. Look it up. The next track is an medium old classic. Here is Once Upon a Ghost in the Gun. right, that was Once Upon a Ghost and a Gun from, I think, Ghost Storm 2019. So, we are halfway in the show, and this is the time to talk a little bit about, like, a lot of the stuff I'm doing here is testing out stuff for live shows, like how am I going to do stuff live on stage. We are working on setting up live shows in Norway and Europe. We will be playing in Bergen, and that's going to be a major production. So if you want to check out insane big screen multi-projection multimedia mayhem, come to Bergen on the 3rd of May. I'm going to post a link to... Here are tickets and stuff like that. But we have more dates in Norway. We will be playing in Kristiansand on June 21st. Lavik, we just signed contract this right now for September 13, and we are working on Hama in September, October. These are all black boxes, so it's going to be a nice production. But we are struggling to set more shows. I've made quite a lot of effort this winter talking to venues. I also hired an assistant to help me with this, but we're not making a lot of headway. So I'm going to talk a little bit now about, I'm going to ask you guys for where are you, and do you know about a venue in where you live, where you think this could work? I'm going to show you some images. Some images to show you the kind of stages we play at, to give you an, like, because in Oslo, here, I'm going to show you... No, that's the wrong one. This one in a big space, and talk about this one first. Here is a view of this. This is where most of my Spotify listeners are. Most of the people are in the US, and then almost the same amount of number is in Norway. Then the 3 next one are UK, Sweden, and Germany, with quite a lot of listeners. And then the 5 next ones doesn't have a ton of them, but it would make sense to do shows in big cities in all of these countries. If you break it down per city, it's a bit different, because in the US it's not really concentrated in one city, it's spread all over the country. But in Norway, most of the listeners are in Oslo. And in Europe, I have a lot of people in Stockholm, Helsinki, Warsaw, and London, with these cities below here, Amsterdam, and I can't see it because of a camera, Prague, Berlin, Frankfurt, LA, and Munich. So in Oslo, I would guess that we would sell probably 500 tickets. In Stockholm and the rest of these other cities, maybe 100 with some good marketing. And the smaller ones down below, I would guess just alone 50 people. Like, that's just what Ugress can bring on their own. If the venue brings some marketing, and if we can do good marketing in a city, we could double these numbers. So what I'm asking you guys, we have been talking to venues in these cities, and I also look into just renting spaces on my own, but nobody replies. Like, I'm not getting anywhere. This is not normal. This is quite normal. I think nobody manages to get venues these days, and I just noticed something. It's not other bands I'm competing with, it's cover bands. Like, it's cover bands of Pink Floyd and Aerosmith and Rolling Stones and stuff like that. Those are the ones filling up all of the slots in these venues. So people go to see other people playing other people's music. It's a thing. I'm not going to criticize it, but just that is difficult to battle against. So let me know. You don't have to, you can comment here. I will read through all of the comments. Do you know a venue close to you or in your city that would fit? I'm going to show you a bunch of stages now, and probably it's going to make more sense there. If you don't want to comment publicly, you can send me an email at ugress@ugress.com. Oops. And here, this is, I'm just now going to show you a couple of the stages I've been performing on the last 5 years. Here's in Berlin. I played in a tiny cinema. Here's in Tromsø. It's a bit easier to see. This is at the Retrotopia production, where we have space for 3 projectors and the main projection. But you see, there's quite a difference between this and this. I can do both. Here's a smaller venue in Oslo 5 years ago. And here's a cinema I rented just myself. That's also an option if the cinema isn't too expensive. And here's the typical. This is a very typical stage, and this is probably what I would look for the most. It's just a regular 100 to 200 capacity nightclub with some space for projection and a table for my stuff in a kind of sense. Here's another look at that. This is what it looks like. Here's another one example like that. Here's a same example, another example. You kind of get the, and here's Oslo again on a bigger stage. So we can do all of these kinds of, oops, that's a live stream. So what I'm asking is do you know spaces like this that could fit for Ugress and where actually this kind of music, it would make sense for the venue? Because what I often is very difficult for me to sense from very far away is like, would it actually fit their profile, or am I an outlier? Even better, if you know somebody, if you know people at the club somewhere where this could fit, just send me a message or drop me the name of the club and the connection and the person, and I will get to work trying to set up shows. I'm going to work on this for the next 2 months, and after that I'm going to close. Like after June, I'm not going to work anymore on booking shows. So message me now. If you don't, I won't. If you message me in July, it's going to be too late. So I could see like a ton of messages streaming in there. So thanks a lot. And also I know that most of you watch this as a recording, which is why I suppose that I will get most of these messages per email. So thanks before. And I'm gonna continue with, that was a lot of talking. So I'm gonna move on to all these heads in your head after taking some hydration. Just loading in the background. It's going to be ready in 10 seconds. No, it's not, because we had the first crash of ages. The visual computer crashed. Wow. So give me a few seconds to restart that like that. It looks like it's operational. Let's see. Well, okay, let's try it. Let's see how this goes. Okay, all these heads in your head. I'm not so sure about the flute there. I like when I rehearsed earlier today. I was like, yeah, that's gonna work. I'm just gonna do some subtle flute things. But then I'm so worked up now. Like the tempo of the everything is bringing me up, and like no, that's not the right instrument for that improvisation. So I'm gonna work a bit more on that one. If we're gonna play this live, I'm gonna do something else there. Alright, the next track is gonna take it down a bit to keep me calm. It's Time Travel, which has been not officially released on streaming services because it has some samples we couldn't clear. Because back in 2000 I had no idea about clearing stuff. Now I know, so I can't publish this, but I can perform it live every now and then and kind of fly under the radar. So here's Time Travel from 2002.
Getting is temporal censorship from her jump.
Scan casket.
What does temporal censorship mean?
It means we can't see where we've been or where we're going to. We can only go back to a specific moment once, and never to that same moment again.
She's traveling in time. She's traveling in time. Traveling in time. She's traveling in time. She's traveling in time.
What's that?
What do you believe?
You know me, I believe everything. What's that?
What do you believe?
You know me, I believe everything.
You've changed the past. You've changed the past. I know you can't change the past. It catches up with us. We change.
Demonstrating that subatomic particles can travel backward through time. Just saying that people can. What would be the result of people traveling in time? Paradoxes become possible. It's the possibility of paradoxes that make most people go out. Time travel. Still, why not? Because it would change
All right. That was time travel from. It's actually from 2000, not 2002. It's a typo there in the info poster. I do have vinyl. Just gonna let you know that like you can buy vinyl from me. Not a long advertisement. Just letting you know. Here's a link to that. And for, posted in the comments, you can buy vinyl from directly from me. Support the artist. These compilation albums is available only on vinyl, and here's the rest of the catalog currently available for sale. Now I'm gonna play the latest and newest and last song of this live stream. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me. I love doing these streams, and I'm so looking forward to look through all of your comments. I saw all of them scroll by here. I'm much looking forward to read through of them. Now I'm going to play Trim for eldre på forlatt romstasjon, which is Norwegian, and that means in English, exercise for the elderly on abandoned space station.